Hey, it's T. Welcome to part 2 of my extreme entryway makeover. In part 1, I talked about my vision for this space, shared how that vision changed over time, and took you along on my journey as I learned how to use a miter saw, get confident with a nail gun, and learn how to properly caulk. Today, I'll be finishing the construction and showing you the biggest DIY project that I've ever done. So if you're ready, let's get started. I did a lot of work off camera, and that includes tons of wood filling and sanding so that the area between panels could appear as seamless as my amateur self could get them. As you can see, the walls are covered in sand, and before I can begin the next step in this project, I need to clean the walls and wainscoting. This flat mop is my favorite tool for cleaning the walls. I'm pairing that with a simple solution of soap and warm water. This is my favorite kind of brush for getting paint into crevices. Foam rollers are my favorite kind of paintbrush for smoother, flatter surfaces so that I can get a more professional finish. While I did not cut myself using power tools, somehow I managed to cut myself using a blade to open this wallpaper. By the way, the decision to add wallpaper was one of the biggest deviations from my original plan in this makeover. I previously wanted to paint the walls in the same grade they already are, but as time went on, I decided that wallpaper was the right choice to add some visual appeal that complemented the wainscoting. The wallpaper that I'm using is of the peel and stick variety. Also, the tool that I just showed you is excellent for smoothing the wallpaper, but because my wall had so many imperfections, I eventually stopped using it because those imperfections would tear a hole into the wallpaper. Adding peel and stick wallpaper can be pretty simple. However, this one piece gave me fits for a long time. I cut out most of the footage of the many attempts that I made at applying it, and I left just that one in, and I just moved on to other areas. Later, you'll see that I was able to go back to that piece and I experienced zero issues. I did nothing differently, but I'm thankful that it worked because I was almost ready to give up on the idea of adding wallpaper to the massive amount of space that had become my new plan. I finished the rest of the wallpapering for the first floor and the staircase off camera and have moved on to the second floor. There are several imperfections in the wall that I need to address to ensure a smooth application of wallpaper in this space. I had a hard time removing this switch plate from the wall and didn't want to break it, so I called in reinforcements. Here, my husband is adjusting the outlet to bring it forward since it was slightly offset after the wainscoting was added. He's using spacers that he had on hand, as well as ones that he made using our 3D printer. It is important to note that he turned off the power to this area for safety purposes. After taking a 2-month break, I am back at it with this project. Here I'm preparing to paint the shoe cabinet. This is yet another deviation from my original plan because I was supposed to paint the cabinet using the same paint that I purchased for my son's bathroom makeover last year because I wanted to add a serious pop of color to the entryway. However, since I had time to change my vision, I opted for a different color for the cabinet and would ultimately add color through decor pieces. In order to get the finish that I wanted, this shoe cabinet required 3 to 4 coats of paint depending on the area. Now it is time to shop for decor at one of my favorite stores. I like combining metal with ceramic and glass, and At Home's selection did not disappoint. It's about a month later, and my goal on this day was to sand the handrail to the basement and the one to the second floor. If I had to subtitle this video, I would give it the subtitle Procrastination, because it is now 3 months later, but I am making progress on the project once again. Right here, this is one of the walls that we have that divide the living room from the foyer. So my goal was to sand them. I did the first one off camera, but this one right here, I want to show you my process on camera. So I started peeling because there are several layers of paint. It was pretty easy to get the first layer off, but eventually I needed to make a little bit more progress, so I used a mixture of vinegar and water, and I soaked the paint for a few minutes at a time and then started scraping, and it really became easy at that point. Since my goal was to brighten the foyer, I decided to change out the frames for these two pictures, and I'm going to be recycling some frames that were in the foyer already. These are the two right here, but I did run into a slight problem, so later on in the video, you'll see what I ended up doing. It's almost time for the big reveal, but let's take one more look at the before. Here is the after. One of the biggest unplanned changes that I made was to the light fixture in the foyer. This is a light switch that has 3 different hues, so I'm just cycling through so that you can see the different colors. Now let's make our way upstairs. If you remember from part 1, I could not figure out what to do about the wainscoting on the staircase, but I have my solution right here, and the answer is textured wallpaper. It is paintable, so I painted it in the same color that everything else is in. While I did purchase new decor for all of the spaces in this makeover, I incorporated some pieces that we had before, so this mirror here and the one down here to the left were originally in the foyer. Now let's head downstairs and take a look at the final reveal in the foyer. In addition to painting the shoe cabinet, I added some new drawer pulls. The task of moving the 2 pictures that were previously in black frames did not go as expected, so we were only able to get 1 picture into the frame as intended. As you saw right there, that picture ended up getting stuck, so I need to print another copy and put it into the frame. I purchased this entryway table from Wayfair, but I did replace the knobs that it came with, and I used ones that were the same as what's on the shoe cabinet. Well, we got it done. Thank you for watching part 2 of my extreme foyer makeover. What started as a drab, purely functional area has been officially transformed into a space that is glam, inviting, and full of personality. This wasn't just a makeover, it was a learning experience from start to finish. There were quite a few missteps, a lot of learning, and some serious trial and error along the way. The whole process taught me that a transformation doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be mine. If you've been thinking about tackling a makeover in your home, I hope that this video encourages you to get started. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you would like to see this kind of content in the future but are not yet subscribed, please click the subscribe button, and when you do, don't forget to click the notification bell so that you won't miss out on future uploads. Until the next time, stay blessed.
Everyone needs a shoulder to cry on. Everyone needs a helping hand. Everyone needs someone to rely on. Yes, every